The lady in the white car failed to yield and blindly proceeded through the cut-through. You guys know how much I hate cut-throughs. She tried to say it was the camera's fault for making her panic. Long story short, after the deputy saw the footage, he ticketed the lady for failure to yield. The white sedan driver thought he was slick and can maneuver his way in to overtake, but failed miserably. He's at fault for hitting two semis. Thankfully, though, there were no injuries. The sedan driver felt like he was more important than everyone else and decided to skip the queue, clearly because he's a VIP. Thankfully, the karma cop was positioned perfectly to bring him back to reality. The black SUV driver failed to pay attention to oncoming traffic and blindly tried to merge in, totaling the other vehicle and his vehicle. Most importantly, though, everyone was alright. The Mustang driver had a yellow light, whereas the turning driver had a yield light. The turning driver failed to yield and clipped the Mustang driver. If it's not 100% safe or clear to proceed, don't risk it.
Like a week or two after we get back. I'm gonna do the plugs in this thing. Gonna do the tune up and whatnot. Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ!
This was an insanely bad overtake. The truck driver was too busy focusing on overtaking, he nearly plowed the camera head on. Hopefully this footage was sent to the police. That truck driver should not have his license.
Oh! Oh my god! Hey!
The truck driver failed to properly secure his load and had pieces of wood flying out. It cracked the camera's windshield, but thankfully didn't go any further. Always make sure your loads are secured.
One day, and I didn't realize they were right outside my bedroom window.
Whoa! Oh man! Oh ho 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 ho! Woo! Almost happened.
He almost lost control.
Yeah. That might be one for DDS TV.
Acura driver failed to check his blind spot and nearly sideswiped the Jeep, causing the Jeep driver to swerve and wobble. Thankfully, though, an accident was prevented.
You on board with that? I know. I just don't. Why are you delaying that? How many people have to die for y'all to say, okay, now we need to do something? Yeah. How many people? Yeah, and we say this every time. Every time there's a mass killing, and we say this, how many more people have to die? And here's some more people, you know.
The truck driver was expecting the van driver to proceed. He panic braked the last second, but it was too late. The damages were very minor, so the van driver just let it go. The cyclist yields too far for the ambulance and ends up in the ditch. Don't worry though, he got up instantly and gave the paramedics two thumbs up and smiled.
Pull into the church!
The lady was clearly distracted with something and slammed into the camera. She damaged his bike rack, tailgate, and cracked the rear windshield. She did admit fault on the scene.
Hitting up a bar, going to a concert. Time with your best friends deserves ice cold, refreshing.
The cyclist completely disregards street signage and lights and decides to proceed in front of oncoming traffic. Thankfully, because the other driver was alert, a collision was prevented. Camera was going the speed limit. The driver ahead stopped in the middle of the road to let the pedestrians proceed, but caused a three-way crash instead. Who do you think is at fault? Let me know down below. The SUV driver thinks his light is green and nearly hits oncoming traffic. He then stops halfway and tries to reverse, but then proceeds as the light turns green. Had he paid attention, this could have been completely avoided. At first, the lady admitted she was at fault and wanted to exchange information real quick. The camera refused and waited for an officer to show up. She then instantly changed her story, trying to pin it on the camera. The cop said if there's no witnesses, it'd be a 50-50 split of liability. The camera smiled